Dive into the past with a book that's one of the world's greatest unsolved mysteries.
After 600 years of confusion, AI finally cracked the Voynich Manuscript. And what emerged wasn't magic or myth, but a hidden biochemical manual. The pages revealed formulas, experiments, and methods for manipulating the human body and mind. This wasn't a puzzle book. It was knowledge deliberately buried because it was dangerous. The breakthrough. The mystery finally cracked when a multimodal AI, trained on more than 400 ancient languages, detected a pattern no human had recognized in 6 centuries. What looked like random Voynich glyphs suddenly arranged themselves into recurring sequences, revealing structure where scholars had only seen chaos. The system flagged a hidden substitution cipher, layered beneath a second phonetic map, an encryption method so advanced it resembled techniques not documented until the 20th century. One researcher stared at the output and whispered, "This was never meant to be solved by its own era." AI-driven clustering uncovered what it called semantic islands, clusters of meaning distributed across pages, proving the text followed linguistic rules, not nonsense. Then came the breakthrough that destroyed the hoax theory entirely. Hidden spacing markers, imperceptible to the human eye, embedded in the ornamental shapes of the glyphs. When enhanced digitally, these microgaps revealed sentence boundaries and grammatical structures intentionally buried beneath stylistic flourishes. The manuscript wasn't gibberish, it wasn't fantasy, it wasn't an invented language, it was information, buried on purpose. As more layers emerged, one thing became clear. This was not the work of an eccentric herbalist or a medieval prankster. It was the product of a mind, or a collective, using encryption centuries ahead of its time, hiding knowledge behind nested linguistic traps designed to outlive kingdoms, empires, and inquisitions. One analyst summed up the moment simply: the Voynich wasn't written to be read, it was written to be protected. And when scientists turned their attention from patterns to the ink itself, the manuscript's purpose began to reveal something far more unsettling, leading directly into the next discovery: how the material evidence exposed a hidden and evolving agenda behind those cryptic pages. The ink evidence. For centuries, the Voynich Manuscript was believed to be a product of the early 1400s, until forensic analysis shattered that timeline. The parchment dated correctly, but the ink didn't. Chemical signatures revealed layers from multiple centuries, overwrites, edits, and revisions spanning decades. This wasn't written, one analyst whispered, it was curated. The ink contained rare botanical extracts, tied to medieval apothecaries and alchemical circles. These weren't decorative, they were functional, designed to resist tampering. Inks used by those protecting dangerous knowledge. Pigments sourced from Levantine ports in northern Italy revealed it passed through networks, not individuals. Then spectral imaging exposed the unthinkable, ghost texts beneath the surface, entire passages erased or reworked. The manuscript evolved, updated like a living document, its pages rewritten across generations. Some pigments traced to routes avoided by the church, paths used by underground scholars accused of heresy. Whoever crafted this manuscript had reached far beyond ordinary medieval trade. The final conclusion was inescapable. This wasn't a diary, it wasn't medical, it was a repository, a protected archive of forbidden knowledge, grown piece by piece over centuries. And when scientists analyzed the strange plants, the truth deepened. They weren't illustrations, they were biological blueprints. The biological pages. For over a century, scholars dismissed the Voynich plants as fantasy. But when modern AI analyzed the illustrations, everything changed. The plants weren't random, they were engineered composites. The AI matched each to real species, not by appearance, but by chemical properties. The drawings weren't botanical references, they were formulas. Then came the roots. Many mimicked human organs, livers, kidneys, uteruses. Overlaid with alchemical diagrams, the patterns aligned. A root shaped like a liver matched a leaf with hepatic toxicity. The manuscript didn't show how plants looked, it showed what they did to the body. Across pages, plant parts shifted in sequence. When stitched together by machine learning, they became instruction sets, extraction methods, dosage guides, even compound recipes. Stylized vines followed medieval measurement systems. What seemed decorative was biochemical coding. Some plants didn't exist at all, until AI recognized their structure from proto-alchemical texts. These were symbolic stand-ins for dangerous compounds, hidden in metaphor to avoid execution. The manuscript wasn't herbal, it was pharmacological engineering, centuries ahead of its time. And when researchers turned to the astronomical diagrams, they found more than stars. They found clocks, cycles of chemistry, illness, and ritual waiting to be decoded. That story continues in the astronomical wheel. The astronomical wheel. For centuries, the Voynich wheel diagrams were dismissed as astrological doodles. But when high-resolution scans were fed into temporal alignment AI, the symbols aligned, not with stars, but with medieval disease cycles. One epidemiologist murmured, "This is a schedule." Rotational markers matched lunar phases used in medieval poison brewing, fermentation, and compound stabilization. The wheel didn't track planets. It told users when to extract, mix, or administer formulas from the botanical pages. Even stranger, certain constellations matched not real star patterns, but codes used by heretical intellectual circles of the 15th century. These acted as ritual calendars for forbidden experimentation, guides for timing trials on the human body. AEI modeling revealed the inner rings tracked biological susceptibility, mapping nights when hallucinations peaked, toxins acted faster, and paralysis mimicked illness. It wasn't magic, it was tactical pharmacology. Then came the most chilling discovery. Rotating the wheel using hidden markers produced a chart of seasonal human vulnerability, times when populations were weakest from famine, plague, or unrest. The Voynich wheel was a clock, a targeting map, and a warning system. And when scientists turned to the next section, the infamous bathing women, they uncovered not myth or metaphor, but anatomical procedures in disguise. The bathing women. For centuries, the Voynich's bathing women, nude figures in green pools linked by pipes, were dismissed as fantasy or eroticism. But when biomedical AI analyzed them, the images transformed. These weren't baths, they were biological diagrams. The pipes mirrored vascular and lymphatic systems. The pools contained chemical signatures of copper salts, plant acids, and distillation residues used in early experimentation. They weren't soaking, one researcher said. They were undergoing reactions. The women represented target tissues, skin, glands, reproductive organs, placed in stylized anatomical theaters, echoing secret medical spaces in Bohemia and northern Italy. Their poses matched surgical anatomy, not symbolism. Color codes match symptoms. Purple for constricted vessels, green for bile poisoning, red for inflammation, yellow for neurological shock. Each sequence showed progressive physiological breakdown, a guide to triggering or tracking reactions. Even the chamber shapes echoed hidden dissection halls used by outlawed scientific guilds. This section wasn't mystical. It was a visual record of human experimentation, conducted in secret, encoded in allegory, and preserved to evade destruction. And beneath those encrypted illustrations lay the final revelation, a hidden cipher, a key that would unlock the manuscript's true voice. Would you like that cipher revelation written next? The hidden cipher. For 600 years, the Voynich manuscript defied decoding. Linguists, code breakers, even NSA cryptanalysts failed. But when AI unraveled it, the reason became clear. It wasn't one code, it was many, layered to mislead. Some glyphs were letters, others commands, boil, distill, grind, embedded as ornate flourishes. One cryptographer said, "It's not a language, it's an operating system." The AI discovered certain symbols acted as lab markers, indicating process shifts, dosages, transitions. Stripping them revealed a hidden cipher, combining Occitan roots with archaic Basque grammar. No human would have linked them. Then came the revelation. Warnings hidden in negative space, visible only after reconstructing page curvature and ink flow. Messages read, "Do not inhale vapors. Test on animals first." Death is swift at this measure. This was no riddle. It was a manual, coded for safety and secrecy. Full translation revealed cold, clinical recipes, hallucinogens, paralytics, silent poisons. One draft described a silent draft that mimicked illness with zero trace. Another warned, "Never record measures plainly." This wasn't encryption to obscure magic, it was camouflage for survival, a hidden science under threat of execution. And finally, the manuscript began to speak. Next came the most haunting question of all. Who wrote it? Would you like that identity reveal section next? The authors. Once the text was partially decoded, the next mystery snapped into focus. Who could have created something so scientifically advanced, so deliberately encrypted, and so globally sourced in the early 1400s? Every line of evidence pointed away from a lone genius and toward a forbidden circle, a network of proto-scientists operating outside the church's reach. One historian whispered, "This wasn't written by a man, it was written by a movement." Linguistic fingerprints were the first clue. Variations in grammar, stroke habits, and symbol spacing revealed multiple hands, each trained in different phonetic traditions, but adhering to the same coded system. These writers shared knowledge and cipher conventions uncommon for the time, suggesting a collaborative workshop, not a solitary author. Chemical analysis of the inks tightened the circle. Several pigments originated in northern Italy, specifically regions near Bologna and Padua, hotspots of heretical scholarship where anatomical studies and alchemical experiments flourished behind closed doors. These cities were also known for harboring dissident scholars who combined medicine, occult chemistry, and early experimental biology, fields outlawed by ecclesiastical courts. Historical records from the 1420s added a chilling layer. In multiple Inquisition archives, investigators described confiscating a book of unseen gardens from practitioners accused of conducting secret experiments on herbs, minerals, and human physiology. The descriptions, strange plants, star wheels, unclothed figures in tubes, matched the Voynich Manuscript with unsettling precision. Pigment migration offered the final proof. The rare dyes traced to trade routes used not by mainstream merchants, but by esoteric societies, groups exchanging forbidden texts, coded formulas, and experimental results under the guise of transporting innocuous goods. These networks were later targeted, scattered, or absorbed into early scientific academies. Everything converged on one conclusion. The Voynich Manuscript was crafted by a collective of clandestine scholars, working in the shadows of medieval Europe. They were skilled in chemistry, medicine, astronomy, and cryptography. They operated under constant threat of execution, and they encoded their findings in a manuscript that only a successor within their circle was ever meant to decipher. The most disturbing truth was yet to come, what the decoded pages actually instructed their users to do. That revelation appears next in the terrifying translation, where the manuscript's purpose finally becomes clear and horrifyingly real. The terrifying translation. Once the cipher unlocked the manuscript's true language, the tone of the text immediately shifted from mysterious to clinical, calculated, and deeply unsettling. There were no prophecies, no charms, no mystical metaphors, only instructions, precise, methodical, and disturbingly effective. Paragraph after paragraph described techniques for manipulating the human body and mind with biochemical precision centuries ahead of known science. A stunned researcher whispered, "This isn't magic, it's control." Decoded passages outlined methods for inducing altered states, hallucinations, dissociation, obedience, or docility. The botanical formulas, once thought whimsical, were revealed as recipes for neuroactive compounds, crafted from plants that, when combined in specific ratios, could change perception or disable voluntary movement. The earlier astronomical charts now made sense. They served as timing tables, identifying when ingredients reached peak potency or when subjects were most physiologically vulnerable. Then came the most chilling entries. One section described a concoction called the silent draft. Its purpose? To cause a slow deterioration of the nervous system while mimicking natural illness. Symptoms were listed with clinical detachment, fatigue, tremors, confusion, respiratory weakness, each explained as if the authors had observed these effects firsthand. The manuscript emphasized secrecy repeatedly, Administer in darkness. Record no measure plainly. Let no trace be seen upon the vessel. Another section outlined compounds for pain suppression, not for healing, but for keeping a subject compliant during extended procedures. Adjacent illustrations, once seen as decorative, now depicted physiological stages of collapse, constricted veins, dilated pupils, weakened breath. Perhaps the most disturbing translation involved passages describing visions of obedience, an effect produced by carefully balanced psychoactive mixtures. These formulas appeared to merge hallucinogens with mild sedatives, intended not for spiritual enlightenment, but for behavioral influence. Repeated instructions urged careful testing, secrecy, and disposal of failed batches. Scholars realized with dawning horror that the Voynich Manuscript was not mystical at all. It was a functional biochemical manual, designed to instruct its readers in the manipulation of human perception, bodily systems, and even social behavior. The authors weren't seeking enlightenment, they were engineering influence. And as researchers moved into the manuscript's final pages, they discovered that the creators themselves knew the danger of what they were recording, leaving behind a final encrypted warning. The final pages. For centuries, the Voynich Manuscript's last section was dismissed as meaningless art. Spirals, loops, abstract curls, and strange flowing lines that seemed to defy interpretation. But after AI rebuilt the pages using enhanced curvature mapping and ink pressure analysis, the abstract swirls transformed into covert diagrams, revealing the manuscript's most chilling secret. Its authors hadn't just documented their knowledge, they had tried to contain it. One researcher whispered, "These last pages are not instructions, they're fear." The spirals resolved into distribution maps, routes detailing how certain compounds could be transported across regions without detection. The networks aligned with known medieval smuggling pathways used by banned scholarly circles and heretical groups. These weren't trade routes, they were delivery systems for the formulas described earlier in the manuscript. Another page, once thought purely decorative, revealed a containment protocol. The symbols mapped a sequence of isolating subjects exposed to specific concoctions, isolating them in stages, observing them discreetly, and destroying contaminated materials afterwards. It was the closest thing medieval Europe ever recorded to a controlled testing procedure. The authors clearly understood that their work was dangerous, unpredictable, and deeply taboo. Then AI uncovered a final cipher hidden inside the page margins, thin strokes arranged in fractal-like gaps. When decoded, the message was stark, almost desperate. "Knowledge of this kind devours its keeper." Further notes scattered through the final pages supported this fear. Some warned of mixtures that should not be made again. Others stressed secrecy over accuracy, urging future readers, if any survived, to obscure critical ratios or burn pages after use. Several lines even suggested that members of the circle disagreed on whether the book should exist at all. And then came the most terrifying finding. Ink dating across the final section indicated multiple attempts to erase the book entirely. Pages had been scraped, overwritten, redrawn. Someone tried to destroy the manuscript, but someone else preserved it, restoring the text, layer by layer, over decades. That conflict between creation and destruction defined the manuscript's last breath. Its authors understood that their discoveries were too powerful for their century, and too dangerous for the next. But the book survived anyway. And what that survival implies becomes the conclusion of the mystery itself, why the manuscript was hidden for 600 years, and why the truth was never meant to be known. The solved mystery. When researchers pieced together every decoded passage, every ink layer, every spectral trace, and every AI reconstructed diagram, the truth finally surfaced. And it was far more terrifying than any theory proposed in 6 centuries. The Voynich Manuscript was never mystical, alien, or meaningless. It was a biochemical playbook, written centuries before modern science existed, hidden because its knowledge had the power to worm, manipulate, and kill. The decoded content aligned perfectly with practices the medieval world outlawed: human physiological experimentation, behavioral manipulation using psychoactive compounds, poison craft masked as natural illness. proto-laboratory processes far more advanced than the era permitted. Anyone found conducting such work would have been executed as a heretic, a sorcerer, or worse. The manuscript's creators knew this. They encrypted every formula, buried every instruction beneath layers of allegory, and disguised deadly processes as botany, astronomy, and symbolism. But the most chilling revelation was this. The authors were not protecting their knowledge from enemies. They were protecting humanity from the knowledge itself. The repeated warnings, record no measure plainly, destroy what fails, knowledge devours its keeper, were not poetic. They were literal. These early scientists understood they were handling compounds and methods capable of altering consciousness, inducing obedience, or causing undetectable death. They knew their discoveries could be weaponized by political, religious, or military powers. So, they hid the book, encrypted it, erased it, rewrote it, passed it hand to hand in secret circles. And when factions argued whether to destroy it entirely, someone chose preservation, perhaps out of fear, perhaps out of ambition. And that choice is why the manuscript survived. Not as a relic of medieval imagination, but as the oldest biochemical manual in human history, sealed beneath 6 centuries of confusion and myth. One historian summarized it in a single sentence that chilled every researcher present. The Voynich Manuscript isn't a mystery book. It's a warning that survived. For the first time since the 1400s, the truth stands visible. Not magical, not alien, but profoundly human. And deeply, dangerously real. The mystery is solved, and the truth is terrifying. The Voynich wasn't written to enlighten us, but to warn us what should stay hidden.